Chuck Chansey Park glimmers in the sunset. A lot of great times this year in the inaugural season for Fresno Football Club. But Fire Squad Fresno looks on tonight. Is tonight the night where their season effectively comes to a close? They're on the verge of falling out of the playoffs, and they take on maybe the story of the USL this year, Portland Timbers 2. Joined by Matt Stubbington, Mike Watts alongside. We look at the Western Conference standings, Matt. And for Portland Timbers 2, incredible turnaround. Dead last year. Now a chance to move even further up the standings tonight. And really, only 9-1 still have a chance at the USL Cup.
Realistically, it is 9-1 that have the chance. Cameron Knowles has done a great job with Timbers 2 this year. Fresno, they had a good season, but it hasn't been the scoring on a regular basis that has let them down a little bit, and they're on the outside looking in.
A win for Portland, they can move as high as third tonight. And for Fresno, they're going to make it difficult because at home, they've been really good this year. They've given fans a lot to hold on to.
Great fans here in Fresno, and the team has done a really good job of playing entertaining football and doing a good job of defending the home field advantage. Scored some really wonderful goals, including this one from Jim L. Johnson earlier in the season.
And a Portland Timbers 2 side that has split the season series with them. Fresno would like to take it to Adam Smith's former club. For Fresno Football Club, that number 9 position wide open. Meyer Bevan, the latest in that role.
Well, the Kiwi, see if he can find a way to get his hands on that role and keep his hands on that role. He has to find a way to put the ball in the back of the net with some consistency, which is what has been missing from Fresno and why they're in the position they're in.
For a while, we thought it would be Christian Cheney stepping into that role, maybe Frank Teyu, but now Bevan, the latest to give it the old college try. For Portland, their player to watch is the guy who's already got it all figured out. Foster Langsdorff is on a remarkable run of form.
With 14 goals, 4 assists, it is on his shoulders in large part why Timbers 2 are where they are at. And if you can find a way to get a goal scorer who can put the ball in the back of the net with consistency, it gives your team something that they can rely on, and that is something that Timbers 2 have done time and time again on the shoulders of Langsdorff this season.
A big reason why Timbers 2 continue to rise up the Western Conference standing. For Fresno Football Club, no doubt about it, their playoff hopes are dimming. They have some home games left at Chuck Chansey Park. A lot to figure out with year 2 perhaps on the mind now. For Portland, winners of 6 of 7. Best story in the USL. Portland, Fresno come your way next. Fresno taking the field at Chuck Chansey Park. Their rivals, Portland Timbers 2 tonight. as the Foxes try and pick up their 9th win of the season and continue a good run of form at home. With Matt Stubbington, Mike Watts alongside, let's meet the starting lineups and begin the home side Fresno Football Club. 4 changes and a newcomer in goal. Mark Pace is stepping in. Kyle Rainish gets the night off.
Well, he's earned the night off. He's played really well between the sticks for Adam Smith this season. Mark Pace trying to get a look in to see whether he can find a way into the picture moving forwards for Fresno. It's good to see Jamel Johnson back. And of course, you got the magician, the violinist, Juan Pablo Caffa with his left peg playing behind Maya Bevan.
On the other side, the lineup sent out by first-year head coach Cameron Knowles. Alex Mangels in goal. Only one change in the lineup. Victor Arboleda, who scored in 3 straight, gets into the starting lineup.
Well, if you're in a good run of form, why not get in the starting lineup? And that's what Cameron Knowles is doing tonight, rewarding Arboleda with his run of form. And Mangels is in goal for the visitors this evening.
Fresno in the home blue kits at Chuck Chansey Park. 6 of 7 wins now for Portland. They try and climb up the Western Conference standing while Fresno tries to stave off elimination. A little give and go. A couple players flying to ground as Camden Faywell will start at left back and is in an offside position here. That's maybe the biggest story of this season for Fresno, watching Camden Faywell and at times Mickey Daly and Matthew Baldissimo, who's playing at holding midfield. Saw Justin Fittis, Zach Ellis-Hayden, Alex Cooper. The line at outside back was a little bit too long this year, but they like Ellis-Hayden and they like Camden Faywell at outside back tonight. Arboleda showing off that speed off of Camden Faywell.
Good explosion there from Arboleda.
Turned over to Loria, and he turns it back.
Camden did a good job of recovering then.
Jamal Johnson missed 5 weeks and threads this through for Bevan. And Mangels comes off his line, yanks this in. The former San Francisco Delta, the NASL. Before that, leading the way for a poor Tulsa Roughnecks team in 2016. I think this is a really important match, very quietly for 16 in blue. If Baldissimo plays well at holding mid, you go from maybe a maybe guy for next year to a yes guy. Slipped up the right-hand channel. Ellis-Hayden has this nick off his foot and get out for a goal kick. And that's really the story of the game here in some ways for Fresno. Yes, no, and maybe in Adam Smith's notepad.
And that is where players have to really step up to the mark, playing for their future at the club. And that's where you see a lot of these teams popping up with some strange results. We've seen that of late. Teams that have already been eliminated from contention of the playoffs coming up with some strange scores in the Eastern Conference. Look at TFC2 beating Louisville City a couple of weeks ago, and then this week they put Cincinnati under the cosh. Really challenging the victors in the Eastern Conference. You're looking at players that are just essentially relaxed, but trying to put their best effort forward so they get a look in from the head coach and see if they can find a way to keep in the action.
Pace will reverse toward goal. And boy, early trouble. Arboleda missed the post. And the pressure from Portland, maybe a bit uncharacteristically, getting right to Fresno's core.
Well, here the goalkeeper looks like he's going to come. No communication. Corey Brown's in the picture. Those two players have to sort it out. Is Pace going to come or not? In the end, it was a wasted opportunity for Timbers too. They really should be 1-0 up.
Maybe some early jitters here for Pace in his first appearance for the club. And is there any more discerning eye than Adam Smith, the former goalkeeping coach for the Timbers?
Puts a little pressure on you when you're trying to earn your spot.
When it comes to goalkeepers, Adam Smith knows if you've been bad or good. Bevan will flail at this, not be able to yank it down.
I remember at the beginning of the season, he said that he was so relieved when Rainish was able to come on board. He felt Rainish coming to the team was one of the last pieces of the puzzle he needed to find. Wanted a goalkeeper with experience to lead the back line, communicate with the defenders. Smith was very happy that and felt that he had exactly that.
Thank you to our ball
with the
kids
veteran
sponsor,
keeper.
Premier Valley Bank. Tonight's ball kids are from Valley Premier Soccer. Now let's make some noise.
I wasn't sure when it happened, so I was nervous to mention, but yeah.
It was new to me. I haven't seen it.
Well, they figured out that he is crucial to their success. Victor Arboleda. Loria, and Pace comes up with a save on a ball that popped off with wicked spin.
Great save by Fresno FC goalie.
Well, you make saves like this, you might earn your starting spot. Really well done and strongly down to his right by the goalkeeper. Footwork was good. The defense, however, was not for Fresno.
Hit on the ground and crossed all off the field of play.
There's been a little bit of a surprise and concern for Adam Smith. How slow the team has started of late, particularly with the playoff hopes. Requiring good performances from the opening kickoff. It's taken a little bit of time for the team on occasion to get into the game. Adam Smith is saying sometimes it's tactical, the way the team is set up. Put on a low block and allow the opposition to have possession. So it looks like the team's not really awake. At the same time, on occasion, the performance and the execution is not good.
Speaking of, Pace turned that over and a penalty. Unreal. Fresno makes a catastrophic mistake in the back. And Portland on the road will have the first chance, get the first goal. Baldissimo.
Baldissimo coming from the midfield position. Just tangle of legs. Loria to the ground. The goalkeeper was left stranded. It was a poor back pass. Put Pace under pressure. He was retreating to his goal line just to find enough room to swing his leg to try and clear that ball.
Well, it'll be Barmby here, former Manchester United youth, looking for his 6th goal of the year, a guy who over the last few years has seen a lot of time for the Timbers. He drives this home with lots of venom. 1-0 to Portland on the road.
Calmly finished by Barmby. The reaction of Fresno players is not calm. It's like it goes straight down the middle of the pit. The goal. Goalkeeper guessed. Tried to throw his right arm up. Unable to make contact and deflect it out. Well struck. Left-footed penalty from Barmby. Great start for the visitors. More disappointment for Fresno.
So Barmby scores goal number 6 in USL this year. Last couple of years, he's come off the bench 27 times, started twice for the Timbers in MLS with 2 goals to show for it. And the pressure pouring in from Fresno in an effort to respond.
Barmby on the penalty kick.
Well, Barmby's got a good sense of humor, and he needed it. You look his name up, and it doesn't take long to find the story of how his teammates at Portland last year made it look like his car was being repoed during training. Kind of thing that gets you just a little bit off your game. Pace will grab this.
Timbers things that, well, they must like me for them to tease me like that, but do they really like me to tease me like that?
Good run forward. This has been all Timbers too early. Zambrano lays it through. Pace coming out. Got a big piece of Loria. Another penalty.
Another penalty kick awarded.
Two penalties conceded in the opening 10 minutes by Fresno. Loria has drawn it again.
Loria wants this one, though. I don't think he's going to give this up. Great run from deep. Goalkeeper commits, goes through the player, in his attempt to win the ball. Will be Loria to take.
Loria on loan from Saprissa in Costa Rica. Saprissa and Portland met in CONCACAF Champions League 2 years ago. One of the most highly anticipated matchups there in that year. Marvin Loria, chance to get a 2-goal lead for Portland, and he strikes it perfectly. 2-0, Timbers 2. Total shocker in Fresno.
To number 44, Marvin Loria.
Well, the fact that 2 goals have been scored in the opening 11 minutes is shocking enough. The fact that both goals have been scored from the penalty spot is extraordinary. 2 well-struck penalty kicks. Again, the goalkeeper guessing. You see the reaction of Kafa there. Furious with the situation his team finds itself in.
Well, I'll tell you this, Adam Smith is not going to be a happy camper. This thing doesn't turn around in a hurry. Not a locker room I'd want to be in. And players have 34 minutes to marinate on that and try and change that narrative. This will run too far for Barrera.
Stay up to date with Fresno FC by visiting our official website at FresnoFC.com. Download the Zorro schedule.
Well, Portland shocking everybody this year. 57 goals scored, third most in the Western Conference with the 2 goals tonight. And this is a team that wasn't bad. I mean, they were historically bad. 3 wins all year, 15 points all season in 2017. With a win tonight, they move up to 54 points this year. Ball knocked over the top, out of the reach of Bevan. And to Portland's credit, they took an entirely different approach this year to how they handled this team. Smith cross field will loop over Ellis Hayden. Little push there. Be careful, young man. Barnby dispossessed and looking for a penalty.
He's watching Ellis Hayden, probably thinking any contact in the box is going to go against Fresno. Kafa doesn't have the pace to breach the back line of Timbers 2. Weird game start to the game. It was very open. Bevan goes down under the challenge. A great chance for Kafa to send this one in. Pick out the tall targets of Ribeiro. Bevan, he's over 6 feet tall.
Free kick awarded to the Zorros. Let's make some noise.
Free kick Fresno in the 14th minute. Kafa. Header gets just by Barrera. Baldismo tries to step in. Ball dispossessed from Loria for a moment. Now Timbers 2 out on the break. Ball line forward. Langsdorff will catch up. Langsdorff cutting it in front, and the recovery. Out for a corner.
Right now, Ribeiro and Baldissimo have to figure something out in the central area of the pitch for Fresno. Adam Smith looks on, hands in pocket, disconsolate. It feels like there's no players for Fresno inside the center area of the pitch right now.
Well, we spoke. There are two things Adam Smith wanted from day one, and he was pretty clear about it. We wanted to find a number 9 that could change the game for us and a midfield destroyer. They thought they had players for those positions, and, well, it turns out neither were really the answer. Nathan Smith, back post, and foul there. And that's the story now. Most of these players are under options for next year, although we can't say for sure exactly who are and who aren't. And with a quarter of an hour gone here and 3 games remaining on the schedule after this, chance to see those players out and then start to figure out what you need.
He brought in Ribeiro to play in that number 9 role and be that player up top. He had to then use Ribeiro to be the enforcer in the midfield. Ribeiro, as good as he is, he can't be in 2 places at once and play 2 different roles.
Johnson, and that's caught by Mangles. You know, the funny thing is I thought that was the answer, not the Band-Aid, bringing Ribeiro into central midfield. And that's sort of an interesting back and forth, I think, that'll come across in the next year.
It will be interesting if Adam Smith is able to find more of the central midfield player that he's looking for, whether Ribeiro would stay within that role.
Thrown in by Barmby. The first of 2 penalties scored by Portland came from him. And Langsdorff has this ricochet off of Cannon Fawo.
You look how Ribeiro has developed as a player in the central midfield role. One of the most improved players for me for Fresno this season.
L'Oreal back up a bit further. And drive it long. Ball fall, shot is on from Lewis. Steered straight up, Lewis a header forward. And Barrera won't be able to clear that danger, continues on for Portland. Arboleda.
Continues for the visitors, causing problems in the back line. Fresno looked so disorganized at the moment.
Smith trying to put some moves on here. Lays it off for Loria. Line drive snapped down by Ribeiro and hit on the volley. Pace able to square this aside.
Nice save by Fresno FC goalie.
Pace has had some mistakes, and he's had some really nice saves in this match, too.
Fresno just not clearing the danger. Timbers, too, almost feel like they're toying with the home team. Lewis with the shot. Another fine save from the goalkeeper, Pace.
So Loria goes back to work, and you think back to that 2-1 win at Las Vegas where the Lights scored in the 4th minute. Loria was the big key to the transition there. Langsdorff knocks it back across, and Portland will continue with the ball. The Timbers, too, broke Chalice. It was after that game where Chalice came out to the media and said, can't do this anymore. I'm going to go talk to ownership and get this squared away. And a couple days later, the Mexican legend had parted ways with Las Vegas Lights, just short of his completion of his first season. Chalice, the rolling stone that gathers no moss. As Corey Brown take this away. His son Isidro is still the head coach.
Isidro's had some good moments. Chalice, he's such a strong character.
for good and for bad at times.
I wonder whether Portland take any satisfaction from the fact that they broke Chalice and forced him. He had enough.
Chalice was slated to be the first manager to manage in the first and second division in both Mexico and the United States. He had a remarkably short run at Chivas USA and MLS. And before he coached his first game, they changed his role, made his son Isidro the head coach, made him the technical director. So Las Vegas, well, it's high stakes. Ball over the top. Bevan did well to bring that down, but can't turn it on goal.
Bevan did well. Disbay did even better defensively, getting goal side and deflecting it out for the throw-in.
I think coming into the year, more people thought Las Vegas would make the playoffs than Portland. Shows why prognosticating isn't as easy a business as it looks. Oh, this will find Kaffa in the corner. Looking for Bevan. Hit from Modou Jadama. And away from Nathan Smith.
Great work from Kaffa on the right flank. Good ball in with the right peg as well. It's unusual to see Kaffa use the right leg to strike the ball.
Bevan wins a corner for Fresno, 21 minutes into the match. Really, there's one guy running on the field. Maybe not a guy you would think of first glance, but a 33-year-old with the determination of an 18-year-old, Juan Pablo Kaffa. And the other way, Barrera will take this corner.
Kaffa's got his hackles up. He's very frustrated with the way the team started this game.
Barrera. Well, Kaffa rose up for that, didn't reach it. Now Timbers 2 trying to get out in transition. Arboleda showing off that blazing speed, trying to be held off by Camden Fayewo. Tries to knock it central, will recover again. Can't dribble through the defense.
Decimo reaching out with the leg. He wasn't in balance. It was a risky challenge.
Crossfield. That'll run all the way out.
The Fresno Foxes will take on 7-time Liga MX champion
Fresno finding a little bit more industry going forwards. Final delivery into the box has not been of a good standard.
Or visit us online at FresnoFC.com for this international football experience presented by Jack in the Box.
You just heard it announced, and well, that's just the latest exciting opportunity for the Zorros. As this will run all the way back to pace. Fresno Football Club will take on 7-time Liga MX champion Club Leon on November the 14th. Jamal Johnson will charge forward. Johnson running out of room. Bounce this toward the opposite corner flag. It'll be a throw. Of course, that's going to be within a week of USL Cup final.
Great for the fans to continue to see the team in action.
There have been some good results against Liga MX. Now, they're international friendlies. I understand that. San Antonio FC has put up a couple good results at Toyota Field in San Antonio against Mexican First Division opposition.
If you want a behind-the-scenes look at Fresno,
a lot of people were making note that FC Cincinnati had beaten Espanyol of La Liga, who are currently in a very early stage of the year in a Champions League position in Spain.
That just speaks volumes of the quality of the USL. state of the game in this country.
Everybody charging through here. Arboleda, the flag is up here. There was a little tap forward from Loria, and that was the touch that led this into an offside position. Loria's been dynamite so far in this match.
On the 2 penalty kicks, in conjunction with Arboleda, who just seems to have another gear. Camdeveo's no slouch as far as the speed is concerned. At times he looks like he's standing still against Arboleda.
Arboleda, an interesting case in that it appears he doesn't have much of a future with the club. If you read the reports in a certain light, Kafa brought down, and a free kick for Fresno. Arboleda was reportedly set to be loaned out to his native Colombia, and later ended up going to Timbers 2 instead, back at the end of August. Well, Juan Pablo Kafa has options galore here, how well he can strike it.
It's within his range, that's for sure. Mistake from Lewis, taking Kafa down from behind.
Well, if the captain is displeased with how this game has started, perhaps it's as simple as him trying to will his team back into it here. He scored a phenomenal goal against Portland first time these teams met. Juan Pablo Kafa will go for goal.
Just over the bar.
Just over the bar.
Didn't miss by much. A lot of magic in that left leg. Scored a lot of wonderful goals off the set pieces. You see the spin on the ball. Had the curve, just didn't have the dip. Need a little bit more overspin.
Push at the back of Langsdorff. You know what I just learned from all that is that the select balls that Fresno provides, they use the FFC abbreviation instead of FRS. I think that's something to take to the league office for next year. League office is busy. There's a big announcement on Tuesday, and nobody knows what it is yet.
They won't tell me.
No, big secret. We'll tell you everything we do know at halftime. Again, limited scope. Not going to be a lot of news there tonight.
We'll need a longer highlight package if we're going to tell everybody what we know at halftime.
Header just high of pace from Timbers 2. It was Langsdorff on the other end of that. Well, Mark Pace, chance to find out here if he's the guy. He signed with Toronto FC last year. His option was declined. With that team that I think most considered to be the best, most complete team in MLS history, with their run to the Champions League final this year in mind. This is caught.
Clever idea from Johnson. Baldissimo was onside. The entire back line of Timbers 2 were looking over at the official on the far sideline. He said no. Baldissimo came from an onside position. Mangles was Johnny on the spot though. Came out, collected the bouncing ball.
Does Pale watch this run out?
Paul was asking a lot of Johnson. It feels like when Johnson went down with his injury, that was when the season got away from Fresno at that point.
It is interesting. There's still time left in this season. It almost felt out of place ask Adam Smith to diagnose this season, but he took the time and did so anyways, and did it with a lot of clarity. I think he looks back to that April-May time where that long winless streak, where they're getting draws, had an unbeaten streak too. Came without a lot of wins.
I think they were 7 unbeaten at one point, with only 1 win in that time.
And he named 3 games specifically where he says there's 6 points. There's 2 points per game we dropped late on in matches. It's the difference between making the playoffs and not. Being around in the last weekend and not.
Well, they have 11 ties on the season. Rio Grande Valley have 13. Also Roughnecks have 11, and St. Louis have 11.
Of those, the only team you'd think has a realistic chance to make the playoffs still is St. Louis.
Right now, they are sitting pretty in 7th place.
This will be a corner for Portland just after the half-hour mark.
Liga MX returns to Fresno on October 14th when Club Pumas takes
getting a
on
2-0 win against San Antonio today.
Monarcas Morelia in a friendly. Tickets are now on sale. Get yours today.
Boy, that is a knife in the back for San Antonio Football Club.
They've lost 3 on the bounce, finding a way to get themselves out of the playoff picture.
Service here, winding all the way past Jadama. Well, it appears for now like Portland Timbers 2 are going to be the only bright spot for Portland fans on the day. Timbers falling despite a goal from Alvis Powell, and then the Portland Thorns had another really great season, and you and I cover the NWSL as well. And a lot of credit to what Mark Parsons did this year with all the moving pieces and all the international players in and out this year, with the World Cup qualifying taking some center stage time. But it was North Carolina courage start to finish. They won the NWSL title today in front of a sellout crowd at Providence Park in Portland. I mean, we're stunned that Cincinnati is gotten the #1 seed in the East with 3 weeks to go. North Carolina Courage wrapped up the NWSL Shield with a month and a half left.
It was amazing what they were able to achieve. The playoffs. It was great that Portland were able to make it to the final. Guaranteed a huge crowd for the final. Such great support in that area of the country for the game of soccer, and especially the women's game.
Yeah, Merritt Paulson has done an amazing job of making it a level playing field out there. And you'd say Deloy in Utah has also done a great job of achieving in that same vein. And Fresno has dabbled a bit in the women's game, and dabbled quite well at that. Two-0 lead for Portland Timbers 2. 2 penalties in 4 minutes time, both in the opening quarter hour. Jamal Johnson splays to ground. The attack on the other way for Timbers 2. Arboleda bodied off by Camden Fayewo, trying to force his way back into the equation. If Arboleda is disheartened about his potential future at Portland, it is sure not showing by the way he's playing right now.
He's playing really well. Camden Fayewo's just struggling to get on terms. Grappling, doing everything he can just to get his right shoulder in front of Arboleda.
Ellis Hayden steps forward. Renzo Zambrano, 24-year-old native of Venezuela. Loria slides in, can't take it away. Jamal Johnson for Baldissimo, who's on loan from Vancouver, who played with Whitecaps too last year. I think that's going to be interesting too, how that continues to develop. Ellis Hayden, too far for Bevan, who's on loan from Vancouver. The affiliation provided some really good thrills. This will run away from Camden Fayewo. You think this year Justin Fittis came into the equation, was later released by Vancouver. Noah Verhoeven at times played really well for Fresno, but also dealt with some international duty for the Canadian youth national team and an injury along the way too. And then you see guys like Meyer Bevan come in and Matthew Baldissimo, and what was their role really supposed to be? Corey Brown starting today for the 12th time, another guy on loan from Vancouver.
It's great to have the relationship with the MLS team and bring these players in. It's tough when you're doing so latter part of the season. You're trying to figure the role on your team, and then if you're doing a really good job for Fresno, then you might get recalled as well. That was one of the things that happened with Fittis, is he got recalled and then ended up being released. And so it's strange for these players. It's a good relationship to have, something that can be developed. Again, service into the box has not been of good quality for Fresno. They're getting the width, they're getting further up the pitch, which is good to see. Still, I think that Ribeiro and Baldissimo are struggling to control the midfield. See Loria there tracking Baldissimo, making him not an option for the outlet pass from the defenders.
Kaffa head up. Kaffa with a missile, parried aside. Mangles stays in at the byline. Phenomenal save. Kaffa again, effort at a diving header. Comes up short for Baldissimo. Absolute rocket from the captain.
Well, this was special from both players. Kaffa invited to shoot. Mangles reading the angle.
Ball for Brown, no. Johnson heads it forward toward Ribeiro. Effort at a bicycle kick, and you cannot be wrong about that. Corey Brown is in the wrong neck of the woods. A center back who just got a big piece of Loria.
Well, he catches his breath. Question is whether Brown will get a yellow card or just a talking to.
I think reach into the pocket here. Yeah, yellow card.
Not a surprise.
Has to be, given that the player's down injured, no?
You would think. There's a look at it. Going up. Yeah, just laziness there from Brown. Trying for the spectacular that was never going to come. There's Mickey Daly, his central defending partner, Brown. Trainer out attending to Loria.
Now your chance to renew is here. The season ticket renewals are now open. Stop.
Oh, there you go. Corey Brown, yellow card.
Also,
his second.
while you're there, enter our raffle for your chance to win a sweet night. The courtesy booth is located behind section 121 and 122.
If you're in the mood for a digression, I can tell you my opinion on trying to take scorpion kicks and bicycle kicks in a crowded penalty area.
I'd love to hear it.
It's not going to be very flattering.
Certainly wasn't a good choice from Corey Brown. Those two players trying to sort things out. Getting under a lot of pressure from
yellow card awarded
Portland
to number
Timbers
29, Corey Brown of Fresno FC.
He just said awarded. He's been awarded a yellow card. It's just an interesting verb choice. It's an interesting verb choice. Not entirely wrong either, but just working with one of our fellow analysts, Adam Smith, having a discussion here. Devin Kerr, and he goes, if yellow cards are awards, I've got a whole trophy case full of them.
Why does that not surprise me?
Play resumes as Fresno back on the ball here in blue. Turned over to Loria, back up on his feet. Loria will overplay this, and Pace will come out and grab it. Pace really made his mark at St. Louis Football Club 2015 and 2016 before he signed with Greg Vanny in Toronto FC. In the end, Mark Pace saw more time with TFC 2 than he did with Toronto in MLS.
Maffeo getting in good positions, but again his touch just letting him down. Baldissimo stepping back, allowing Nicky Daly to drop into the left back position. Stop the counterattack from Portland.
Goldie, stay behind the ball right now, Goldie.
All lined up top, and more contact. And the whistle blow here against Fresno.
Baldissimo trying to make something happen in his attacking box, just coming off as he intended, not really challenging for the ball.
Arboleda goes hard into the ground. Corey Brown walks away from the challenge. There's Barrera. Baldissimo. He and Ribeiro have not combined well. Lewis trying to pump the brakes.
Ribeiro, well over 6 feet tall. And at times it feels like his legs go all the way to his armpits. Able to win the ball very easily there. Does such a good job defensively.
Camden Fayewo tackled from behind by Arboleda.
Free kick awarded to Fresno FC.
See, the free kick awarded, that
makes sense.
Right.
Southwest corner of the concourse and behind section 119.
Quick restart, and the referee says not so fast. Luis Guardia will bring this back.
Check out the latest in Fresno FC merch at FresnoFC.com.
And this is a better choice for Fresno. The opportunity for some players to get forwards, serve the ball in from Kafa. Let's see Camden Feo go in the mix as well. He's a big boy as a target.
Kafa looking for Ribeiro. Now to Baldissimo. Brown goes running in. A big piece of Foster Langsdorff. And a Madhu Jadama going down.
Brown's have to calm down a little bit, sitting on the yellow. A rash challenge like that one could end up in the locker room early.
Matt Stubbington, Mike Watts, 44th minute. Fresno trying to respond to 2 penalties. Jamal Johnson, sliding challenge on the mark, but will cede the ball back to Kafa. He's able to swerve across in. It's over Bevan. Barrera squares up. Alice Hayden. Barrera again, lining this up front. Full shot is on, kick save. Kafa Can't get that through. Well done by Mangles, who's made a couple phenomenal saves. And now the break is on for Timbers 2. And Loria has it snapped away by Camden Fayewo. Kaffa. Fresno a little life here shortly before halftime for Johnson.
Much better from Fresno. Controlling the touches when they need to now in the attacking third, putting Timbers 2 under pressure, getting the width. It was a really good save again from the goalkeeper, this time with the feet.
Bevan draws some of the defenders. The overlap get there of Ellis Hayden. Slides in on Arboleda. Slides again. Ellis Hayden still looking for Bevan, who got his legs swept up out from under him. He tried to get a foot to that.
Well, that's Fresno and Ellis Hayden showing some of the desire and want to that his fans have seen all season long. What Adam Smith wants from his players. Bevan started the move. Clever imagination from Kaffa. Ellis Hayden keeps it alive. Bevan never stops his run.
For Timbers 2, if they do find a win, they'll be 10 points up on San Antonio, who fell tonight. And San Antonio only has 3 games remaining. So that would solidify their playoff position. How incredible is this? Ellis Hayden going long, as we're more than halfway through stoppage time in the first half. You know, I've been joking about it all night. These math permutations are a total dumpster fire when you add in all the games in hand.
If they are able to win tonight, Timbers 2 would actually go ahead of Real Monarchs on the goal differential, I think.
Through, Bevan onside. Good save, Mangles. His first half has been his own personal highlight reel. Final seconds of the first half. Brown, Ribeiro. Flipped through by Baldissimo. Comes out to Camden Fayewo. Referee making decisions now. Skips all the way through. And we've reached halftime. 2 penalties, all Portland needs. They take perfect advantage. 2 brilliantly taken spot kicks. Loria drew them both. Phenomenal first half on the road for T2.
That was a really good start to the match. The home team managed to find a way back into the game. Mangles keeping the advantage to the visitors. Adam Smith has got a lot to talk about at halftime with the Foxes. See if he can right the ship.
Yeah, and what's more, Meyer Bevan knows what just got away from him. 2 perfectly executed spot kicks. Loria draws them both. He'll only take the second. Barmby and Loria in the opening quarter hour. We've got highlights, stats, and news and notes from around the league when we come back.
Run into the playoff continues on
Chuck
Saturday
Chansey
night,
Park in
September
Fresno,
29th.
California. 2-0 lead for Portland Timbers 2. As they take advantage of two egregious Fresno errors with two spot kicks in the opening 15 minutes. Back with Matt Stubbington, Mike Watts with you. Let's take a look at the upcoming USL Game of the Week schedule. Only 2 games left. There's a realistic chance, Matt, that we may see the #1 team in the East and the #1 team in the West. A couple teams that aren't going to be in the playoffs at all.
It's so amazing that we've only got 2 games left as far as the game of the week is concerned. And Cincinnati, they've played really well all year and have solidified their place at the top of the Eastern Conference. Phoenix Rising, they still got a lot to play for, but if they take care of business and win out, then the Western Conference should be theirs for the taking.
So Cincinnati and Phoenix toast to the town, and there were plenty of great plays in Week 27 in the United Soccer League, and plenty of great plays in Week 28 you've already seen. We'll probably make the highlight reel next week. Let's see the best from the week that was.
Theo takes a shot, and that one is good.
And so Francis tapped over the bar by Dan Lind.
Jan cutting it across, the shot is on and in. Hernandez.
Tipped over the bar by Perino. That's #1 at his best.
Here's Saeed. Goal! Oh my goodness!
Off to Adi, a save is made by Patterson Sewell.
To the right foot of Rio. Shot goal!
David Olsen goes for goal, tipped up by Wazinski.
Subasa Endo with a great-looking strike. Endo with some room. Takes a strike. Endo hits it and has a hat trick. Forced lasso! Oh, look at Fernando Adi. Into the box. Fernando Adi, far post. Into the box. Corbin Bone! Corbin Bone heads it in! With that goal, Manu Ledesma sets a new USL record for assists in a season.
Goal and a score! Incredible goal!
Tampa Bay. They'll try and send one in on the ground. Score!
And his service in finds the back of the net.
Wow.
It's headed back across and down and in! And is buried into the back of the net.
This could be their moment. It's Baril! Yes!
Ball to Decker, and what a shot at the corner of the net!
Right-footed shot, and he has it! And St. Louis has stolen a goal. Now headed in for a goal.
Oh, and St. Louis has done it.
And there it is. He's just scored.
Minute Sharp turns the near post, is scored.
Bends it in! Brett is denied and stopped again!
Tambaki's got just enough of a look at it.
And he puts it in, rips that shot, followed up and in, and he puts his team ahead once again.
It's in! There it is! 2-0 Orange and Blue!
Now setting up the right score, and it's in!
Manu Ledesma does it again!
Saved by Newton.
Spagenberg with a diving save! Putting on a show today!
With Sir Matthew Stubbington, Mike Watts alongside. You saw that Richmond and Cincinnati, the next USL game of the week. Hope you'll join as the Kickers are headed to USL Division 3 next year. As a founding member, Cincinnati headed to MLS next year, not a founding member. Let's take a look at some USL news and notes, Matt. And there's a big announcement coming on Tuesday. Tell me everything you know. Brilliant, Matt. Brilliant stuff. Dynamite drop in, Matthew. How about Swole Park, Haji Berry beating the modern USL mark for goals in consecutive games has Swope Park on the uptick.
I'll tell you what I do know. That is really special from Haji Berry. He's on really good form. You know he's going to be marked by whomever he's playing against, and yet he's still found a way to score a goal in 7 consecutive games. That's a tremendous effort from him, and Swope Park will be really excited that he's in good form at this point.
And El Chalice is out in Las Vegas. Mentioned it in the first half. Portland broke El Chalice as he leaves Vegas right after the cash drop out of the helicopter. But the Llamas, it's been said, will stay. Anything more on that announcement on Tuesday? All right, thanks, Matt. Let's take a look at Team of the Week from the USL. And Tsubasa Endo scored a hat trick against FC Cincinnati for Toronto, a losing effort, 4-3. And so he is the player of the week. Rios and Cortez are still in the Golden Boot race. And, well, East and West about equally represented here.
Some good players on this team, and you have to highlight Ledesma. He's got the assist record this year, and in doing so, he found his teammate Corbin Bone in that game against TFC2 for the game winner. That's what broke the record, and Ledesma has had one heck of a season for FC Cincinnati.
You know, this Tuesday announcement feels like a Penn and Teller act between the two of us.
Well, the question is, I should ask you, what do you know about?
Not a chance. Not a chance, Matt. 2-0 lead for Portland Timbers 2 as they've taken advantage of a couple penalties. We'll show you how it all went down. Get you ready for the second half when we come back.
You're one of my competitive ones. Gotta take a deep breath.
Boys ages 9 to 18.
Welcome back to Fresno, California. Fresno FC trailing Portland Timbers 2. The run of play hasn't been nearly this bad. A little deceitful, the scoreline, a couple penalties. Let's show you the halftime highlights. They're brought to you by Just the Tip. First half highlights, Matt. This comes in the 9th minute of play. A ball parried aside by Pace. And this was one of the early good plays by Fresno. It's the penalties that really did them in.
Silly penalties. Baldissimo coming in from the back, just clipping L'Oreal there. Easy decision for the referee, and an easy finish from Barmby, emphatically with the left foot past the despairing dive of Pace in goal for Fresno tonight.
Tough debut for the newcomer as that goal goes in there from Barmby. Loria would not only draw a second penalty, this time he'd actually get to take it.
And this one, it's Pace that has the foul on Loria going into the box. And Loria just steps up, gives the ball a little kiss before he puts it on a penalty spot. And again with the left foot, this one is in the back of the net. The goalkeeper, even if he'd gone the right way, probably would have had no chance. That ball was so well struck. And that was more frustration for Fresno, as this was a good shot coming in from Lewis, nicely saved by the keeper. He had some good moments in the first half despite conceding the 2 PKs. And Fresno finally found themselves getting back into the game a little bit, finding some width, finding some possession going up the field, and some of the touches that they needed were important in the attacking third. That was a fantastic effort, this one from Kafa, and the save by the goalkeeper Mangle was wonderful to his left. And we look at the stats for the first half. Fresno, it didn't feel like they had 59% of the possession. T2 were on the counter-attack though, and were very effective in that manner of play. 7 shots, 4 on target, really testing the goalkeeper pace on his debut. Fresno, somehow they've managed 5 shots. Just doesn't feel like they were really in the game in the first half, although they did have some good chances. That one from Kafa, probably the best.
And so it's 2-0 at halftime, as Timbers 2 can clinch a playoff spot if they're able to finish this result out. Here's the upcoming schedule for Fresno. They will play Colorado Springs and Real Monarchs down the stretch. So the next 2 teams are on the outside looking into the playoffs, so it appears. Real Monarchs right now in total free fall.
Real Monarchs, they've lost 4 of the last 5, drawn 1, and just have to find a way to get this corrected. You want to be playing your best soccer going into the postseason play, and that is not the case for the Real Monarchs right now.
So tickets still available for those back 2 home games, October 5th and October 13th at Chuck Chansey Park. You can join along with Fire Squad Fresno and enjoy the game a couple more times before the season is out, and then the preparations begin for 2019. Year number 2 of franchise history for Fresno Football Club. So for Portland, you think back to last year, 3-23-6. Their first 2 years, they were about a 500 club, 23-29-6. But boy, it all really fell apart last year. They let most of that core run away from that group, and they've grown a new core that has them ready to clinch their first playoff berth. Last time a team with 2 at the back end, their name won a USL Cup, New York Red Bulls 2 years ago. Last time out in the West that a 2 team made it, well, Los Angeles, then Swope Park, then Swope Park again. So there's reason to think that Timbers 2 have a good chance to make it through. And if they can finish out on this torrid run of pace as Lewis plays back, we're underway in the second half.
All right, fans, let's make some noise.
Interesting to see how both teams respond to the messages from their head coaches coming out of the locker room. I'd have to imagine that the hair of the Fresno players was dried a little bit from the message from Adam Smith. Couldn't have been happy at all with the way the team performed in the first 45. And they're turning his back on Farfan with the foul.
Meyer Bevan, chance to come down and work with the Fresno coaches a little bit. Vancouver keeping a pretty close eye how things progress for him. Free kick coming for Madhu Jadama, who joined the team in Tucson earlier this year, a Colo Colo youth in Chile. Punched out by Pace. And lobbed back the other way. Pace will watch this fly out. Adam Smith, the last one onto the field, isn't he?
Taking a little time to calm down coming out of the half-time break.
You know, it's very clear. He takes his job as a professional to the nth degree. He really takes a lot of pride in building this team, and he's really taking a liking to this city. And you know, it's kind of funny how you take over a club, and he joined Frank Yallop, Ray Beshoff in sort of beginning this club from the studs, and how there are moments in your life become defined by where you were. Perhaps most obviously when England reached the semifinal of the World Cup. Jamal Johnson was struck from there and scored previous. that he watched in a Subway sandwich shop in Fresno. He'll never forget that, I promise. Ball chipped back across, won't find Barrera, hits Bevan unexpectedly. That's grabbed by Mangles. And he has every intention of being here next year and giving Fresno a playoff team. That is his big ambition. Really laid out, we want to be competing for a cup within 3 years. So he's hoping next year they can advance the window up a bit.
He has a very clear plan and knows what he feels needs to be changed with the way that the club is going to be moving forwards and the pieces that he feels that he needs in order to make the club successful. And he's always been very forthcoming with us when we've talked to him and given us a wealth of information and time. It has been fantastic for informing us of what Fresno is about.
Mark Pace will line this up, 49th minute. Fresno still a +5 goal differential. That's sort of the amazing thing about it. You see teams like Swope Park with a negative goal differential, below water on the year, above them in the playoffs. Just a couple of key results go in the wrong direction. Throw coming is Nato Bustamante among those up and active on the Fresno sideline. Bevan getting at the back of Jadama. Alice Hayden. Ribeiro now for Fresno. Alice Hayden thinking a ball over the top. Kicked away from Bevan.
I don't really see Barrera much in the first half. One of those players that just feel like he needs to be on the ball for Fresno to be successful.
Bevan, everybody shouting. Finally, ball gets to Barrera. And Barrera, a line drive that's snipped out.
T2 haven't done as good a job finding those players up top. Valeda, Loria, Langsdorff. Haven't really talked about Langsdorff very much in this game.
Hasn't lent itself.
He had one moment in the sixth in the first 45 minutes.
Langsdorff was one of those guys that was in the academy when Adam Smith was coaching the Timbers Academy. This ball hit on the ground with Bevan in mind.
Veo trying to hit that near post area. A little bit of more awareness from the left fullback. Jamal Johnson was in a lot of space at the top of the box.
Service headed down by Daly. Been directed on frame.
Knowles will be a little bit worried at the moment. T2 are finding ways to allow Fresno back into this match. Bring up opportunities. Not really possessing the ball going forwards.
Jamal Johnson. Zambrano caught up. Fresno trying to avoid a 5th straight winless match. Bit of a mountain to climb here. Good move to create space. Ball for Johnson. There's an appeal for a handball. No. And coming in, Baldissimo commits the foul. Well, Baldissimo is not necessarily at a sterling game. Holding midfield. A rare start for him. Lewis. Zambrano. Lewis! Pace got enough. Steers it aside. Ellis Hayden trying to dribble this out. And he's fouled in the process.
Another wonderful save from Pace. Lewis continues his run from midfield, just blows past Baldissimo. He also just lets him go. Deflected into the path of the goalkeeper, full stretch. Able to keep it out of the back of the net. Gives Fresno the chance, that lifeline.
Big challenge, Baldissimo. Player goes down, referee reaching for his pocket. Farfan is down. Young 19-year-old who's really highly celebrated out of this Timbers Academy.
He's a lucky boy to be still on the pitch. He's going to get a yellow card. It's not been a stellar performance, as you said, from Baldissimo. A yellow card. Almost allowed Lewis in on the goal-scoring opportunity moments ago. And now this foul off Farfan. Cameron Knowles will be worried about his player, who's still down, being attended to by the athletic training staff. I wonder if Adam Smith will go to his bench, bring in a more experienced player in that role in the center midfield. Magetta, perhaps.
Baldy, a young man eligible for the Philippines, spent 3 years with Whitecaps too, and in saying that, he's still only 20 years old, the native British Columbia. And for Farfan, guy out of Centennial High School in Portland, first homegrown, at 18 years old for Portland, and that's out and out a dangerous challenge.
And you're leaving your feet, you're coming in late. And he's lucky that he's still on the pitch. I've seen players sent for those. Certainly on the follow through, the cleats are up on both sets of, on both boots.
And Farfan isn't quite ready to let bygones be bygones yet. Juan Pablo Cafa's reached a hand out, and I'll admit, I'm not sure I blame him. I'm not sure I'm shaking hands at that stage either, but classy move from the captain nonetheless.
He's one player that does lead by example. He understands how bad that challenge was from Baldissimo.
Well, it's good to see him up. That's going to sting for a while for Farfan.
Your second half score, Portland Timbers 2, Fresno FC 0. On first half penalty kick goals by number 23, Jack Barnesby, and number 44, Melvin Lurie.
He's trying to get the sensation back in there.
See Cameron Knowles just checking with the training staff, make sure that his player is okay.
Long run here. Jamal Johnson will catch up. Johnson's been one of the real revelations, and at the start of the year, Fresno could not buy a goal down the middle of the field. Jamal Johnson was really the only one that was finishing chances in the early going. Became pretty clear pretty early that that's the one area Adam Smith had on lock, these wing positions. Facing up, Baldissimo.
Jamal Johnson with 8 goals on the season. He's been stuck there for a long time. He's been out injured, but
you know, it goes back to your point in the first half. It seemed like when Jamal Johnson was on the field, good. Jamal Johnson off the field. I know that's a very binary outcome, but yeah, certain players do have a really big impact.
You combine that with the lack of players or consistent play from the outside back position, with Alex Cooper and Ellis Hayden missing time, Camden Feo as well.
Bevan won't sneak that through. I looked the numbers up on Cooper and Ellis Hayden playing together, and the team's averaging over 2 points a game as of 2 weeks ago. Big collision. Attack still on. Arboleda.
Fan is back.
Thankfully. Ribeiro comes, takes the ball right away. Bevan. Bevan cutting it across. The slide from Johnson nearly got off the schneid.
Despay couldn't have known that Johnson was coming, because his attention would have been fully on Bevan. The central defender did really well to turn that away from his own goal, because he was facing towards his net.
Ball served and caught by Mangles. I think he's pretty thankful these 14 minutes haven't been nearly as hectic as the last quarter hour or so of the first half.
He's definitely relieved. Call into action a lot in that latter part of the first 45 minutes. A clumsy challenge from Ribeiro. So that's my first one. Gets a yellow card though. Deems that the first one is bad enough.
Yellow card awarded to Fresno FC number 9, Pedro Ribeiro.
Would agree with the referee. Late in the challenge. Timbers 2 can do a better job on this set piece than they did on the prior effort that they had.
Dorf up the right-hand side. Crossed. Pace. Did not get a touch on that.
I guess the answer to that is no, they can't do better on that set piece than the earlier one. Chose to go short on this one instead of serving it long into the box, but particularly good on the service that did eventually come.
Oh, Ribeiro goes down hard. Zambrano commits a foul. It'll get down and check on him. And the referee's job now is to make sure this begins to simmer instead of boil over.
Free kick awarded to Fresno FC.
Go into the top pocket, yellow card. So it have to be a yellow for that tackle from Zambrano. Never got
also
close enough to the hip of Ribeiro when he went in for the challenge.
From Portland,
you can see from the reaction of Zambrano, he knew exactly
that is a 51
that he was going to go into the referee's notebook.
5150 energy drink, the official energy drink of Fresno Football Club. Head over to the concession stand to get your energy drink on now. Can you feel the energy?
First yellow card for the visitors tonight.
Okay, Fresno.
I think I know where this is going.
Make some noise.
Juan Pablo Cafa will go for goal.
Just miss.
Had an idea. And to Pace's credit, I'm not sure he would have gotten this in.
Well, Mangles was definitely interested. Probably one of the better free kicks I've seen from Cafa of recent times.
Barrow for Kaffa, who's moved higher up the field for sure. Barrow goes in, doesn't get the ball. Loria sidestepping Brown. Arboleda, no rebound from Pace there.
Another save from Fresno FC goalie Mark Pies.
That was a good save from Pace. He had to make sure that he made sure of his handling of the ball. And that was all started on the counterattack from Jaramark getting in and taking the ball away from Fresno.
Bevin won't get a call that easy.
Ball is out for a Portland Timbers 2 goal kick.
Struggling to find ways to get around Janamar, the central area of the Portland Timbers 2 defense.
Are now open. Stop by the courtesy booth for more information. Also, while you're there, enter our raffle for your chance to win a sweet night. The courtesy booth is located.
Looks like Fresno need another player on the pitch that maybe will stretch Timbers 2 vertically a little bit. Bevan and Kaffa are very similar as far as their pace is concerned.
Johnson, Kaffa. For Ellis Hayden. Kaffa too high for Jamal Johnson. Really the first time where it felt like Fresno got numbers into the area. Ellis Hayden off the turnover. Acrobatic to get that away. Camden Fawo stepping in. Good dynamic run forward for Loria. Steers it aside, Langsdorff. Arboleda sweeping toward the byline.
That was a better job from Baldissimo, tracking back, following the run into the box. I like the movement of Langsdorff. As Loria was trying to get into the attacking third, Langsdorff tried to create an angle for the pass, peeling off from his teammate. Smith looking down the bench. Looks like Cheney might be coming on. As dominant as T2 were in the first 25 minutes of this game, feels like they're doing their best to allow Fresno back into the match. Quality of their passes have not been of the standard we saw at the beginning of the game.
Bustamante and Cheney standing with the coaches. Ball for Johnson. Floated too far. Lest we forget that Fresno dominated Portland at Merlo Field in Portland a couple months ago. 4-2. The final, and it really didn't feel that close.
Liga Mex champion Club Leon on November 14th.
A penalty and a deflected free kick, the goals for Timbers 2.
Office window, or visit us online at FresnoFC.com for
one of the rare moments where they
presented by Jack in the Box.
Haven't been able to find an answer, Portland. You know, it's a team that's conceded first on 4 different occasions and gone on to get a win. It's been a really resilient bunch. Barmby. You know, I think it's interesting that Cameron Knowles said it after the Las Vegas game. The big difference at halftime was moving Loria more central and his impact on the game. And it is most definitely carried over.
He's been a really important player in that central midfield role. And getting further up the pitch as well.
Kafa for Barrera. Good touch on by Laureate to keep this moving. Arboleda, Zambrano. Last touch fell short. And Brown pirouetting in open field.
Again, good movement from Langsdorff. Brown did a good job to get in the passing lane, but Langsdorff just coming towards this near sideline, trying to spread out the defenders and then darting in diagonally, expecting that vertical pass up the pitch. The movement was good. Defenders were able to just close that passing lane down just enough.
Ribeiro, Laureate closing him down. Fresno FC will continue down the stretch of the 2018 season, taking on RGV at gorgeous HEB Park in Edinburgh, Texas, Rio Grande Valley, Saturday, September 29th. Came to the air on ESPN Plus, where they host Colorado Springs and Salt Lake at the end of the year. Jamal Johnson with a rocket. For Portland, they've got 3 games to go as well. Camden Fayewo. Camden Fayewo gets a push in the back, keeps it alive, sliding shot. Comes Ellis Hayden! Zach Ellis Hayden pulls one back for Fresno in the 70th minute.
It's been coming. Timbers too have been sitting on their heels too much, relying on the counter-attack, not possessing the ball enough in their attacking half, inviting the pressure from Fresno, and the Foxes finally make it pay. Great work and great strength from Camden Fayewo on the left flank. Drives the ball across. Bevan couldn't get on the end of it, but Ellis Hayden could. Strongly with the right foot, puts it in the back of the net.
Fresno goal by number 2, Zachary Ellis Hayden.
Good moment for Ellis Hayden. And the smoke finally flows. Fire Squad Fresno. Barrera's done. Cheney comes on. Very offensive-minded move here.
I like this move from Adam Smith. Bevan and Cheney will play alongside each other up top. Kafa will step back into the midfield. Aldissimo's moved to the right wing.
Cheney trying to get ahead to this. Knock it off Jadama. He did, yeah, corner. Portland making a move. Arboleda has come off. Harold Hansen has come on. Corner. Header is too high over Mengels.
Just missed. Substitution
Mickey Daly.
For Portland Timbers 2. Coming on number 45,
there's Hansen.
Harold Hansen. Coming off number 19, Victor Arboleda.
Arbaleda's done. That stretch of goals in 3 straight will come to a conclusion.
Caused all kinds of problems for Camden Fayewo in the first half. It's been fairly quiet in the second stanza.
So Hansen checks in an effort to try and seal the deal here, because Portland to win, they're in the playoffs. I know it's a high likelihood that they'll make it one way or the other. I don't think they're worried about that. I think they'd like to stick a fork in this now. They could move into the upper four in the playoff picture, Matt, and potentially host a game at either Providence Park, where they play most of their games, or Merlot Park in Portland.
Right now, Real Monarchs are down by 2 at halftime to LA Galaxy 2.
Ellis Hayden, effort at it, comes up short from Cheney. The turn, Bevin looking for Cheney.
Lamar was able to clean things up. There was a moment of panic in the back line for T2, though.
Camden Fayewo won a corner.
Fresno FC corner kick sponsored by Central.
You know, this week it was very obvious how angry Adam Smith was that they lost at home. They hadn't lost at home in months. It was just the third time they lost at home all year. One of them came in the opener. Kaffa, Daly. It's down for Brown. He swerves it back across and gets cleared by Barnby.
It's an important clearance. Fresno certainly have a head of steam up. Let's see what it means to Kaffa.
St. Louis did their part. Their win over San Antonio gave Portland a chance to clinch here tonight. This ball ripped from distance, and Mangles gets a palm to it. Christian Cheney from way outside. Was that Cheney there? It looked like in the middle of the field.
It was Cheney. Bouncing, dipping, swerving effort. The goalkeeper did really well, and he had to hang on to the ball, because Bevan was there lurking to put in anything that was rebounded.
Zorro fans, stay up to date with Fresno FC by visiting our official website at FresnoFC.com. Download the Zorro schedule, get all the match day information, and don't forget to purchase your Fresno FC gear. Get the latest news on all things Fresno FC at FresnoFC.com.
Final quarter hour. Long run, this grabbed by Mangles. For Portland, they are at Sacramento next, which could well decide who gets to host a playoff game and who doesn't. Really exciting match, that. And then they'll host Reno, as Tom Petty would say, free-falling. And then at Phoenix. 3 playoff teams as it stands right now to close out Timbers 2 schedule. A team that I think some sort of saw as having a nice start, but eventually that luck would run out. It never did. And one last set of hurdles to jump before they head to the playoffs. So it appears. Loria with a shot, and he rings it wide.
Trying to take the team on his shoulders and put this one to bed. Shimmy and shaking, strength on the challenge, fizzing effort with the left boot, and the goalkeeper interested.
Of the concourse and behind section 119 today to get your Zorro's gear. Fresno FC kits and Adidas collection are in stock. Check out the latest in Fresno FC merch at FresnoFC.com.
Way too easy to break through. Langsdorff helicopters down. It's Harold Hansen who made that push forward. Ellis Hayden, who's been dynamic in this second half. Johnson couldn't hang on.
Adam Smith has gone more to a 3-back system.
Sort of a discussion they had at the start of the year.
Camden Fayewo and Ellis Hayden are pushing further up the pitch. It's well read by Barnby.
You think some of the teams that perform best on smaller surfaces at baseball stadiums go to that three-back look. Attack is on here. Langsdorf, really tight angle. Good slide by Brown, who's grown into the game as it's gone along. And if this game was a little bit sleepy in the first half, it's that much more open in the second. Delivered too far for Bevan.
Bevan indicating that he needs just a little bit more flight on the ball. Put a little bigger bit of backspin on the ball. Have it check up a little bit.
Bustamante comes on, Camden Fayewo is done, and to your point, that pretty much solidifies that three-back look.
Tickets are on sale now. Get yours today at the ticket office window or visit us online at FresnoFC.com.
22nd appearance for Bustamante, Fresno Fuego guy. 8 goals last year for the Fuego. It was with Tampa Bay 2016.
More of a two-back look at the moment with Daly and Brown. It'll be a big ask for Baudismo and Ribeiro to defend in front of the back two of Daly and Brown.
The Fresno Football Club Twitter is getting lofty with these quotes. The goal scored by Fresno, they're saying, "Let there be life," in all caps. Ambitious. Ellis Hayden putting on some moves. Ellis Hayden's been a real linchpin to this turnaround in the second half. Headed away by Nathan Smith, who came over from the Galaxy organization. Turning shot from Cheney. Got a ton of carry on the ricochet.
Blocked by Lewis, I think.
Johnson helped to force the turnover. Bounces toward Barmby. And again, he's got a good read on it. And this ball ahead. Langsdorf has a head in this race. Langsdorf running out of room. Brown shoves him in. And Brown goes over the board.
Cameron Knowles wondering why there isn't a penalty call for that one.
He might be onto something there too. Under 10 minutes before stoppage time, and Ellis Hayden will chip this off of Farfan, who picked up an injury earlier, but has returned. Shipped up by Ribeiro. Back now toward Johnson. The feet of Bevan. Bevan on his right. Right into Mangles. And he put himself in good positions last game too, but wasn't able to find the net there either.
A nice set there from Cheney on the ball. Lofted forwards by Ribeiro. Found its way to Bevan. See from his reaction, he knows he should have done better. Challenge the goalkeeper more.
Advantage was played, nothing there. And a free kick to Fresno.
Foxes have managed to get ahead on the ball for the last few set pieces that have been taken by this man here. This is a really good opportunity.
And that was before Christian Cheney come on, and he seems to be magnetic for it. He's at the back post. Daly's in the middle of it all. He's been the target of late. Juan Pablo Caffa behind the ball. Can Fresno level this thing? Caffa, rising header. It'll bounce wide. Cheney was trying to get onto the scraps. Daly and Brown both rose for it.
Again, Fresno get the head on the set piece. Again, it goes just wide of the upright.
Colorado Springs Switchbacks FC on Friday, October 5th, here at Chachansey Park.
Daniels wasn't sure that that was going wide. Cheney didn't react to it. It's one of those that you have to frame the goal as a player, commit to the ball, anticipate the rebound, something that Cheney didn't do. There's 2 hands in the back from Baldissimo.
At the halfway line, free kick to Portland. Well, fans don't want an inkling of a potential California-Oregon upset here. Potential California-Oregon comeback. Should probably avoid the final to the Stanford and Oregon Duck football game that just ended. Yellow cards coming here. Barnby gives a thumbs up here. I don't think he needs the speech with it. And Don Smart will come on, the 30-year-old Jamaican who arrived from Miami FC to the NPSL.
Coming off, number 11, Jamel Johnson.
That's enough for Jamal Johnson.
Entering the game for Fresno FC, number 12, Don Smart.
Smart will go a little bit further up the pitch with his pace.
Yellow card given to number 23 of the Portland Timbers, Jack Barnsby.
Coming up post-game, we'll tell you who our El Mexicano man of the match is. Take a look at the Zoom image of the match. And we'll have full-time highlights that are brought to you by Just the Tip. As Portland trying to hang on, 2 goals in the first 15 minutes, both penalties. Barnby in the 8th, Laurie in the 11th. Laurie drew both. Ellis Hayden a goal in the 70th. Fresno has comeback ambition. Ellis Hayden slipped it through. Bustamante, that'll go off a Lewis corner.
Great work from Bustamante, continuing his run into the box. Ellis Hayden finding the pass.
Here's another Fresno FC corner kick, sponsored by Central Valley Toyota Dealers.
Corner, Cheney, way too much juice.
All right, now it is time to announce the winner.
Fresno were getting in each other's way there.
For season
Bustamante and Cheney went for the same ball.
The winner for the Sweet Night is
A little bit of communication needed.
Congratulations, David Knudsen. You are the winner of the Sweet Night.
6,103.
Please report to the
tickets out for the game tonight.
On section 121 for your prize. Thank you for participating.
Good number of the originals making their way out. And you think about the historic nature of this. It was a lot easier to make the playoffs last year when there were fewer teams. But credit where deserved. Teams like Reno that made it as an expansion team, Cincinnati made it as an expansion team. Big hill to climb nonetheless. Ellis Hayden, too far for Cheney. For every team that does make it the first year, there's a handful that don't. And Fresno certainly had an uphill battle here. And you look at where the standings are. Las Vegas did make it in this year in the Western Conference. Everybody above the line, part of the league a year ago. And how about an update from elsewhere in the West? The Monarchs are going to be the final opponent of Fresno this year. They're down 4-0 to LA Galaxy 2. Couple goals from Alvarez, Zubac, and Vera as well. Real Monarchs are just totally lost right now. They haven't won since they announced that their head coach would be leaving the organization.
Coming out, number 28, Foster
Mark Briggs
Lansdorf.
replaced.
Entering the game for Portland Timbers 2, Number 80, Augustine Williams.
Augustine Williams comes on. Foster Langsdorff is done, and well, we talked about him pregame, and I don't know that he got the ball enough to really make the difference we thought he was going to make. And notably, Adam Smith was the first to greet him on the way off. He coached him when he was a youth.
Good moment from the head coach from Fresno. Langsdorff just a little frustrated, I think, not getting the service that he needed to be successful. It's been such a weird game for Portland. First 25 minutes, they were absolutely dominant. Since then, it's been all Fresno.
Played long, Williams on the sprint. Fresh legs against Mickey Daly. This will be a corner for Portland. Or 1 minute and projected 5 minutes of stoppage time away from securing their first playoff berth. And completing what is one of the best comeback stories ever written in this league. I mean, this and Tulsa the year before. Incredible resolve and resilience. Dangerous stuff in the back from Fresno.
It was a weird corner kick. I thought that T2 would go short with it and try and waste some time in the corner. That was maybe what Fresno were anticipating. And then that ball came across and caught Fresno a little bit on the hop.
Get away from Farfan.
There will be 5 additional minutes of stoppage time. All right, Fresno fans.
Pace.
5 minutes.
Guilty of 1 penalty. Allowed 2 goals, both off penalties. 5 minutes added time. But also came up with some big saves here. Both goalkeepers have made a couple buttes. Long ball played, Mangles will come out, snatch this.
Goalkeeper gambled, made no mistake. Came a long way off of his line. Frustration continues for Bevan. Now Ribeiro filling in at left fullback with the substitutions Adam Smith has made.
There's a little bit of frustration here, reigning. Ellis Hayden stopped playing entirely. Thought that had gotten out. Ball over the top, Williams. Pace comes out, demolishes his own player. And Ribeiro was coming back on defense and just got absolutely hammered by Pace. That's one way to endear yourself to new teammates in your debut.
I said, how about Ribeiro filling in at left fullback?
There he is.
I don't think Pace anticipated him being that. Ribeiro said, hey, how about a shout of keeper next time? Very heavy challenge. I think Ribeiro is indicating that he is fine to continue. Touch.
Cheney. Ball bounce ahead. And Cheney, ball in a china shop, goes all over Arturo Bizbay.
Called on number 21, Christian Cheney of Fresno FC.
Cheney just needs to walk away. It was a very heavy challenge. Perhaps Dispay made a little bit more of it than he should have done. There's the multiple rolls after the contact.
touched by Ribeiro, and Portland shaved half the time off of the additional 5 minutes.
Ball is out for a Fresno goal kick. Here we go.
Goal kick, Fresno. Will this be win number 7 of the last 8 for Portland? And that long-awaited key to the playoffs. Lewis. Barmby. Won't get by Daly. Not yet. Pace. Here comes Ribeiro. Will strike this long. Cheney trying to collect, and he goes back. Gets Farfan. Cheney shown a yellow for dissent.
Yellow card.
One of those silly yellow cards that will drive your head coach nuts. He's wasting his own team's time now. He needs to be quiet, walk away. Try and get it back off the free kick.
Truth be told, I think the head coach might be on Christian Cheney's side in this one. Well, this should be it for Fresno. With the injury and the yellow card, could be a little more than the full 5 minutes. But time certainly at a premium. Smart. Smart lobbing. Header is in! Goal! Cheney! Right at the death!
There is no quitting in the Foxes. They will play the full 90 plus. They'll play their season out if they have to, all the way to the end. Cheney never stopped the run. The ball came out to Smart. He measures the cross, and Cheney raises up highest. He's got some spring in his step. What a celebration from Cheney.
Well, for Portland as it stands, they should still be in the playoffs. There's still 3 games to go, and this draw, combined with the earlier performance, should be enough to put Portland into the playoff field from last into the top 8. But for Fresno, a goal at the very, very end from Christian Cheney. And it finishes level 2-2. No surprise, tonight's man of the match presented by El Mexicano. First, it looked like it could be Zach Ellis-Hayden, but in the end, it's got to be Christian Cheney. That dissent yellow card only served to power him forward a little bit more.
Well, it was a great moment at the end of the game. If only he could have had more moments like that throughout the season, perhaps Fresno would still be playing for a playoff place. He's a talented young man. He has a bright future. He just has to keep on learning the game. And Adam Smith will be the first to tell you that he's got a lot of work to do. But if he keeps doing that work, maybe he will find that bright future.
Your goal scorers from Portland Timbers 2 on penalty kick, Jack Barnby. And on penalty kick, Mason Smith. Fresno FC goals to number 2, Zachary Ellis-Hayden. And at the death, your game time goal to number 21, Fresno's own Christian Cheney. Let him hear you, fans. Let him hear you, fans. Today's Fresno FC Man of the Match, presented by El Mexicano, is Zachary Ellis Hayden. Buffalo Wild Wings is a proud sponsor of the Foxes. Open tonight until 2 a.m. Wings, beer, sports. In the next home match, Los Zorros take on the Colorado Springs Switchbacks FC on Friday, October 5th, here at Chancey Park. For hometown heroes now. For ticket information, stop by the courtesy booth.
Portland has clinched. They're 9 points up on San Antonio. San Antonio 3 games remaining. The first tiebreaker is wins. Portland has 16, and San Antonio has 12 right now. So San Antonio sees another road close toward the playoffs, and Fresno at the death, 2-2 over the newly minted first-time playoff team, Portland Timbers 2. Let's take a look at full-time highlights. They're brought to you by Just the Tip.
It was a slow start from the home team. They were slow into challenges, Baldissimo conceding the penalty kick that led to the first goal for the visitors. It was well struck with the left foot by Barmby to put Portland Timbers 2 ahead by a goal. And then the goalkeeper Pace, he brings down Loria again. And this time it is Loria that steps up to take the penalty kick. Again, the left-footed shot beating the goalkeeper for the 2-0 advantage at that point. Pace played really well in net, except for the 2 penalty kicks that he conceded. Made some really good saves. That was one early in the second half. And then this was a great moment for the home team. Ellis Hayden finding the back of the net. All started with great work on the left flank from Camden Feo, showing strength and ability to stay on the ball. Bevan got a touch to it, and then it deflected over to Ellis Hayden, and he put the ball into the back of the net. Loria tried to put the game to bed for the visitors. Strength and possession on the ball. Fizzed the shot past the post. And then, because they were still in the game, Cheney was able to do this with a special moment at the end of the match. In stoppage time, gets the tying goal. The celebration was special. The delivery from Smart was wonderful, and the header was pretty brilliant.
Well, if you're Fresno, we talked about possession not really living up to expectation in the first half. Second half, much more like what we've expected at home from this team this year.
Yeah, Portland's Timbers 2 just allowed Fresno to have a lot of the possession, and it was in the attacking half for the Foxes. And they were able to make it pay in the end, and essentially T2 just invited the pressure from the home team. And you can't do that. You have to be a little bit more authoritative with your defensive effort than T2 were, and that's something that Cameron Knowles will have to correct going forwards.
Let's take a look at tonight's Zoom image of the match, and it's a hard-working Jamal Johnson. Good to see him back.
It's fantastic to see him back, and if he's playing well, the Foxes play well, and hopefully he will be able to keeping on and lead the team with his excellent examples.
All right, here's what's coming up next. HEB Park, what a great venue for it. And the Toros, too many ties. They're going to miss the playoffs. But they're a very difficult opponent, and Fresno will see them on Saturday.
Well, playing for pride now. That's what Fresno are doing. That's what Rio Grande are doing. And it'll be interesting to see how that one plays out as everybody's trying to put their best foot forwards now as those teams are at the end of their seasons.
Well, 6,103 in attendance tonight, and they went home with a memory they won't forget. Christian Cheney walking off with a hero's resolve. Fuego, the Fox, carrying the flag out onto the field, and in the early going, Portland Timbers 2 look the dominant side. They clinched their playoff spot tonight, but it's the hard work of Mark Pace in his debut, of Zach Ellis Hayden in his return to health. And at the end, Christian Cheney, Frey Ponte, Jose Bueso, Manny Simone, Matt Stubbington alongside Mike Watts, saying thanks for watching and good night.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League may not be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer League.